back, guys. In the previous video we have seen how to build up this dashboard page. Now we are going to see how to decrypt the JSON web token, that is a JW token which we have created, how to decrypt it and get our username and user email. So without any further ado, let's get started. So the first thing before decryption, we need to get that JWT and verify it, right? So we are going to verify that in our backend. So to do that, first of all, we are going to create a middleware file. So here I'll give auth middleware.js. Yeah, and here I'll require JWT because we need to verify the JWT token which we are getting from the user. So require JSON web token. So if you see our website, let's just go to our website and right click, and if we go to the application here, this is where the local storage is saved. So this is local storage and the data, this is the JW token which created for this user. So we need to decrypt this token only to be able to get our username and email. So for that purpose only, first we are going to require JSON web token, and after that we need to export this also, right? So module.exports, and here I'll use asynchronous function because we need to deal with a database here. So first one will be request, second one will be response, and third one will be a next. Here next is nothing but we are going to tell our function to proceed to the next function or the next line of the statement. So this is obviously going to be a arrow function, and first before having token, we'll create a variable as a token, and we'll check if, because we are storing this token in headers, right? So we are going to check in a request dot headers dot authorization. So if you're having any kind of doubt in this request dot headers dot organization, I'll show you because it's in a library of JWT. Sorry, so we are going to go into JWT website. All the tokens or all the authentication will be stored in a headers only. So we are going into this introduction. So this is all the introduction about the JWT, which I've already spoken about it, the JWT, and when you should use a JWT token also. It's a authorization thing. That's why we are using JWT. And you also know the what is a JWT structure. The first will be header, the payload, and signature. These all the things were discussed in the previous section. So if you're having any kind of doubt, just scroll up and watch the videos again, and you'll get to it. So these are all the things we have done. Yeah, this is the thing I was talking about, how do JSON web token works. So whenever we create a JSON web token, the authorization will be successful, and that authorization will be stored in a bearer, that is in a, every website will be having some kind of header. So in that header there will be a or authorization, and there this bearer token is stored. So that's where the valid JWT is stored. All the kind of request or response will be carried out using this HTTP headers only. So that's why I mentioned in the code that a request.headers dot authorization. So this is all the library or the documentation stuff you want to. So if you want to go through it, I'll give you the resource added to this link. So if you can go to this official website, you can learn much more about it. So let's go to our code and continue our coding. So first what we need to check is whether there is any header or authorization in the request headers. So if there is authorization in the headers, then what we'll do is we are going to check another thing, that is we need in that headers and in that authorization we should check whether it starts with bearer or not, because few seconds back I told that we are going to check the authorization bearer token. So we need to give a bearer here. Yeah, so that means first of all we are going to check here two conditions. First condition is we are going to check HTTP request headers authorization, and then if there is something in this authorization, we are going to check the bearer, because the token will be stored along with that a bearer only. And I need to handle this here, so that's why first will be try catch, because if there is any kind of wrong thing happen when checking this request, we should catch that error also, right? So that's why try catch is mandatory. And now I've created the variable of token, right? So what I'll do is I'll store the token here. So token equal to request dot headers dot authorization, and it will be split where it has some kind of a space, or like you can see the separator. The split is nothing but it you will get a certain kind of string where you find that separator. So I'll find a separator where there is this space, that is a empty space. If there is an empty space, then that is a token, because first you'll have bearer and after that you'll be having the token. If I show you here in this website, so you can see right in authorization we have a bearer and a token. So if I give this split function and give this a empty space here, then it will be storing this token. So that's what I am trying to do. And after the token, after the splitting, I need this a first one. So that's why I've given this first one. And now I'll be storing a variable in this. So JWT, here we are going to verify our token with the help of JWT library. So JWT verify, and the first parameter is we are going to give a token which we have received from our request headers authorization, and the second parameter will be our secret code. So our secret code was in auth.controller. So yeah, while logging only, right, we are signing in the user with the secret code, that is a secret key 123. So similarly we are going to have this secret key that should be the same. So that is why only it will be able to verify. So this is a string, so we need to give it is in a strings. Don't worry, whatever, this is a vulnerable text, right? So we are going to give this as a process.env methods while deploying this project. So don't worry, our code or our credentials will not be exposed. So this is done. So once the verification is done, we no need to give any kind of other function. Just a day JWT's inbuilt verify function will verify it for ourselves. We don't need to check any other thing. That's why JWT is so popular, because it simplifies our task. Then we are going to store it in our body in a user, this user. So if the verification is correct and the user is fetched, then it will be stored in the request or body. Once this is done, the next function should be carried out. That's why I'm giving this a next. Now I'll just log this error what I'm getting. So I'll log this error, and after this I'll just have a status of 500, and I'll send this error to the user if any error occurs. And we also need to or we also need to handle another function here. So that function is nothing but if there is no token received, or if there is no token in the browser, then we need to handle that as well. So if there is no token, then I need to send this a response to the user. So for not one, and I'll send a JSON here saying that it is not authorized. So I'll send this message as not authorized. Yeah, that'll be it. And this is the verification part. Now what we need to do is we need to load data regarding this token, right? So we are going to decrypt the data. So after this, I'll decrypt the data. First we need to write this route. So inside route, yeah, this one here, we need to give a router dot post, and here user data is data, and this second parameter will be a auth variables, that is auth middleware. So by this middleware only it will verify that token. And our third will be the user data, that is nothing but we will passing the token to this, right? So that is a user data. And now in the auth controller we need to define that function. So this throwing error, let's see what is error. Yeah, it's user data, because we have just defined it but we have not wrote function for it. So we'll write function and export it there. So here user data equal to, and this will be asynchronous because we are handling with all JWT and all those stuff, right? So and request response as well as the arrow function. Now here I'll have a try catch block. In try, I'll just give the status, because all the verification, all those things will happen, right? So I'll just request the status and send some information. Send. First I'll give this success as true. Second one, I'll send the data whichever I'm getting from this body. So request dot body dot user. So if you check in our auth middleware function, I'm sending this into the request body dot user if the user has been decrypted. So that's why I'm sending this into the data. And I need to handle the catch also, right? So rest dot status, this should be of 400, because 400 seems to be a error function. So send error. So let's save this, and we are still getting the error. Okay, we need to export it here, right? So in auth controller you need to import user data, and we forgot something, we need to export here as well the function. So user data, now we won't be getting any kind of error. Yeah, now there's a no error. So we are done with the backend part. Before trying to decrypt this from the front end, let's just try with the backend part only whether we are successful or not. So what we'll try is we'll try with the Postman. As you people already know, Postman is nothing but it is a HTTP client. So if you're not having the front end, so test backend. This is the great tool to have. So we'll have this HTTP localhost 5000 auth user data. So this is the route I'm having. If you check that the backend will be having of course a 5000, and in server if you check, this is the auth, and after auth what I'm having is user data. So that's why I'm giving that in the Postman. So http localhost 5000 auto user data. So this will be of a get first of all, because we are just getting it. So instead of get we'll be having the post. And now, as I've told, the token will be in authorization headers, right? So instead of going this here, we can give authorization. All those are simply in Postman. We are having this as a authorization, and here we are having many options. So here we'll have this a bearer token, because this is what we need to have the token. So this is some dummy data they given. So instead of this we'll just put our data, put our token. So this is our token, let's just copy and paste it in our Postman to test it out. So instead of giving it directly in front end without knowing whether it's working or not, we'll try it out here. So we'll just remove this double quotes, and if we click on send we should get some data. So yeah, So if we can see, this is a decrypted version of our token. First it will say success, because if we check in our code and auth.controller, it will return me two. That is, first it will send me success is true, and the second one will be the data. So success is true, and the data will be of id, user, email, and whatever is stored in our token. So this is a great way of getting or decrypting your token before going into the front end. We'll also see whether if we remove one character also, it will throw us error because it won't verify. So it says JSON web token error, invalid signature. So this is for backend. In the next video we'll see how to actually decrypt it from the front end.